Okay, so like I stated last time, the first thing that you're often going to want to do is flip your images around. So if you go up to image and then image rotation and 90 degrees clockwise on this one, that's going to flip it around the correct way. The image is on last week's Connect lesson. Scan.jpg, I think it's called. Okay? Now, the very first thing I want to show you is if you look down in this bottom right-hand corner section, we've got layers. For those of you that don't know what layers are, is if you imagine like blank photocopy transparencies, it's like a whole bunch of those stacked on top of each other. And generally when you're working on Photoshop, you arrange those layers to work out what you want on top of other pieces. And then you also are generally only editing one layer at a time. So you've got a lot of control over what you're actually editing. So you can go and fix things if you stuff them. Yes? Come? Yeah, so when we were using Illustrator last year, for those guys with me using layers, exact same concept. Every single bit of Adobe software's got layers in it. So the very first thing we want to do is we want to unlock that layer because we've got this little picture of a lockdown there, which means we can't edit it. So if we double click, it'll open up the layer options and it will also unlock that layer. So we've got something editable. So when I ran through and did the one up on the board there that I showed you yesterday, the very first thing that I did was I edited the proportions of my sketch. So one of the cool things about Photoshop is if you do a sketch that you're not quite happy with, the proportions aren't quite right, you can change some stuff as you go. So what I did is I got my marquee tool, which is this one on the left-hand side here. It looks like the ants chasing each other. And I drew a box around my particular speaker. And I went up to Edit, Transform, and then Scale. And what that does, that brings, changes your marquee box. So you've got these little squares. And what you can do is you can actually start to edit your design. So I had made mine quite slim, like this, and what I wanted to do was make it a bit taller and give the speaker a little bit more volume and a little bit more body. So you can adjust all of these and you can really got quite a lot of control over how you want to change that particular speaker. So I'm just going to make mine a little bit taller. And then the only trick with the transform tool is once you finish editing, you need to, up the top here, you need to click on the little tick, and you click the tick and it will fix it for you. So once again, chasing ants marquee tool, draw a box around what you want to edit, transform, scale. Now you can also transform perspectives and start to actually drag things out. So if I've drawn something incorrectly, sometimes you can actually start adjust things with that perspective tool and fix up errors that you've made in the perspective of the drawing and tweak. You can do all sorts of tweaks and actually manipulate your picture so that it looks a bit better, which is kind of a handy thing sometimes, but you can also get a bit sucked into spending too much time on it. Okay, the next thing that I wanted to show you was, so if you're using a mouse, if you hold down Alt and use your mouse wheel, you can zoom in and out quite easily and quickly. Can you do it with Alt and 2 fingers? Does the same thing happen? We just use 2 fingers and pinch and zoom? Yeah, I think you can just pinch to zoom if you're using your trackpad. The next thing that I wanted to show you is how you can do a little bit of basic rendering to make your images look better. And then, like my example that I showed you yesterday, I did basic rendering on Photoshop, and then I printed it out, and then I went back over the top of it with pencils and a few other bits and pieces like that to sort of bring it off the page a bit. So what you can do, whenever you're adding rendering or color to a picture, I suggest that you actually add a new layer rather than destroying that previous layer. So the first thing we're going to do is add a new layer. So down in the layers section, in the bottom right hand corner, you've got a few different icons down the bottom. Right next to the trash can, there's a picture of a page with its corner turned up. That is the new layer. If you hover your mouse over anything in Photoshop as well, that little tooltip will come up and that'll tell you what the tool's for. So we click on that and we'll get a new layer popping up like that. Okay? Now, as far as your layers go in this bottom section, whatever layer is highlighted, so see I'm changing from layer 1 to layer 0, that's the layer that you're working on. That's what you're going to be putting color onto. So you need to make sure that on your layer 1, for example, and if we want to make it easier, I can double click on that and change the color. So change the name to, we'll call it color for now. so that we know what each layer is. That's pretty important once you start working with quite big Photoshop files. So as far as adding color in the form of rendering to this particular speaker that we've got here, on the color section, what you want to do is you want to mask it off. So just like when you spray paint a car, you don't want all your spray or your rendering going on different sections. So you want to actually mask areas off so the color's only going to one area. The easiest way to do that is to use the Polygon Lasso tool. So just below the square marquee tool that we use, there's this one called Polygon Lasso tool, which is a picture of a lasso, but it's got the quite geometric shape to it. And with that one, we click on there, make sure we're on the color layer. I can click. So you click again to create an anchor point, click again to create an anchor point, and I'm just going to draw a box around this top and side section. Now, obviously, the more accurate you make this, the better the quality of your rendering is going to be. And then once you come back to where you've started, you'll see my icon change. See that? Might be a bit hard to see on the projector, but it goes from just the normal lasso tool, and then that little circle comes up. When that little circle comes up, that means that you're joining the shape together. And when you join the shape together and click, you'll get the chasing ants around that area where you've drawn that polygon lasso. Okay? So just have a go at trying to draw that, and I'll just walk around and see where you're up to. Okay, so, ladies and gents, once you've got that layer set up, you've got your area masked off, what you can do is you can then start adding some color. So if you go over to your paintbrush tool over here, I ended up changing it to a grey. So you've got your color picker up here at the top right hand side where you can pick a color there, or you can double click down in your little color swatches, which are down here on your toolbar. You can change the color as well. I used sort of a darkish grey color when I did mine. Now the trick is, when you're doing big areas, you want a biggish brush. So if you go to the top of the brush tool section here, where mine says 220, you can click the drop down and change that brush size. I usually turn my hardness right down as well, gives it a very soft kind of airbrush kind of look. About 220 was working well for me. I might go a little bit bigger than that. Yeah, somewhere around 350-ish. And the other thing that's important to change is where it says flow. That's, if you think about airbrushing or spray painting again, that's how much paint is coming out at one time. I click on the flow. When I'm doing this kind of rendering, I do anything from 5 to about 12%. Because you can always build color up, but if it's coming out too fast, it's very difficult. So let's just go about 8% for this one. And then what I can do is I can, obviously when I'm clicking, the paint's coming on. And because I've masked off, I can drag backwards and forwards. Now, if I go over the same spot a couple of times, it'll start to darken in. I want to get it nice and dark around this corner here. And I want to leave a couple of light spots, so I'm leaving it nice and light on that corner there, nice and dark back around the corner. And what you're starting to get is a nice 3D looking kind of area with, as you can see, pretty minimal amount of work. So what I want you to do is just get that airbrush tool, which we're using with just the paintbrush over here, around 300, 250-ish on your sides on the drop down. Bring your hardness right down to 0%, and then change your flow from anywhere from 5 to about 12%. And then make sure you've got some sort of grey colour, and have a go at just starting to airbrush and get some lights and darks happening. Okay, just two more things, or maybe one more thing for today that I'm going to show you to help you out, so you can then scan in one of your own concepts and start having a bit of a play. On mine, as you can see up on the board over there, I did like a bit of a red rim around the edge. Now what I've done there is I've actually created a Polygon Lasso tool and then taken out some masking out of the inside of it so that I just end up with that nice rim. So to do that, I created a new layer, because when I do a different color in a different part, I like to create new layers, because what it means you can edit things and change things easily without being destructive on other work you've done. So for example, with the grey section here, that was my color. I might just call that grey back to be a bit more specific now. I can just turn, with this little eye icon, I can just turn that on and off, which can kind of help you see and adjust things. I can also click on that grey black, where this opacity is up here. I can click on opacity and I can drag that down. I can make some adjustments to it and change how dense it is. So the more layers you've got with separate areas, the way more control that you've got over different things. So I'm going to create a new layer. Oh, put that opacity back up. I'm going to call that red rim. I'm going to zoom in a bit, so I've got this mostly on my page, like so. I'm going to get my polygon lasso tool. I'm going to do this nice and quickly. It's going to be a little bit rougher than you guys would probably do. So I'm going to do the outside shape first. Like that. So that's my outside shape, okay? So what I want to do is, obviously, if I try and do it now and do that rim in a ready color, it's quite difficult because it's airbrushing onto that area that I don't really want it to do. So what I want to do is take a section out of it to mask away. So if I go back to Polygon Lasso tool and I hold Alt before I start clicking, see that negative sign comes up? That negative sign means I'm removing something from a mask. So I hold Alt, click to start my Polygon Lasso tool, let go of Alt, and now when I draw this shape, and make my way around. And join it up. What I've done is I've created two masks effectively, and now I can add that color just to that one section. Like that. Now to undo, you've got Command Z, which will step one step back. And then if you go to edit and hit step backward, you can go back lots of times. And I think it's Command Shift Z. Command Option Z. Yeah. Now the other little bonus tip on this one, to make it look extra 3D, if you have a look up here, I can, on this same layer, I can bring my brush size right down to something about 80-ish probably. I can go down to my color picker down here. I can go for a black, and I can actually start to put a little bit of black just on this inside here, and then a little bit of black just on this outside here. This is a lot slower, obviously. Yeah, so what it's doing is it's making, see the way it's making that rim look rounded now? Because I've got this sort of dark to light to dark. And if you do that in the rim, then it'll make it look even more 3D. So it's all about adding the dark spots and the light spots to trick your brain into making it look like a 3D shape. So what I want you to do is just have a little bit of a play around with that. Once you've had a play around with it and you're happy, then you can print it off on the printer, and then I can show you a couple of hand drawing techniques on how to make it look even more realistic. Okay? And then I'd put a final layer in on this middle section, like I did on the orange over there, and put some sort of colour in there, and then I can show you how to make that look a bit better as well. Okay? So just have a bit of a colouring in with Photoshop.